What did you think? I gotta ask, what did you think of Pitch or Die?
Oh yeah, it was interesting. Because Kayla, we were coming back from Cleveland from
Like
the
I
anniversary
first
day.
of all, I do want to say I'm kind of pissed how you handled my question because here was the chain. Hey, did you watch the new show? Yeah, Kayla's got it on now.
Yeah,
That uh, it that was
she
3 days ago. Why didn't you tell me if you liked it or not? I'm sitting here like, well, does he like it? Does he hate it? What the shit, man? I'm obviously setting you up to get your opinion on it, and you just went like, yeah, it's a show.
I I also like you gotta figure that was our anniversary day. Like we were
Oh,
out at
happy
dinner.
anniversary.
Yeah, we were
Happy
we were
anniversary.
out and
We
about.
wished you an
Like
anniversary last
yeah,
time, I think.
yeah,
I think I put
yeah.
it in like the opening or ending of it, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we were actually out at Crocker Park getting ready to go to dinner. Uh
Okay,
but
that was your anniversary day. There were
yeah.
many days after that where you could have said,
I
I like the
okay.
new show.
So
You did a good
so
job.
I am one of those people who if I am having a conversation with somebody and I respond and somebody does not respond back, like I give you information that I have in my
So wait
head
a second.
and I
Wait a
respond.
second. So you're putting this on me
No, no,
for not saying what'd you think? Is that
no.
really the move you're making? Is it
I
chess
guess
with
technically to
Neil?
some degree, I guess technically to some degree that's the move, because if I
No.
respond, it's like, yeah, okay, like yeah,
That
we have it
is.
on. It's on right. We she just had it on. I was listening to it whenever when we were driving.
You are
And
ridiculous, sir. That is ridiculous. I know you know that's ridiculous because I could see you laughing when I called you out on that.
I
Okay,
do
so
that
what
if
did?
it makes you feel any if it makes you feel any better. I do that to literally
It's all right.
everybody.
It's all right. Everybody's got their stuff. What did you
No,
think? Did you like
it
it?
was it was good. It was fun. I like that it's more than just like it's more than just a like a quick 5 minutes. You can actually expound upon stuff. Um,
Well, I try to
yeah,
keep it to 10, so it's a quick video. Was the
right.
goal?
Yeah, but that's good though. Like it gives you enough to go upon, and the idea itself was pretty good too.
Yeah, you
Uh,
liked it.
so
Would you
yeah,
play
like
it?
I actually I
Castlevania
think
MMO?
I'm like 75% on board.
Oh, I that right there is a win because the word MMO is in it, and I said
Yeah,
games as service repeatedly, and you
yeah,
still said you'd play it. I'm
yeah.
excited about that. I'm excited about that.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and you, my friend, you lucky so-and-so, you have chosen for whatever
Only
reason.
you, only you,
Only you. It's
single
just for you.
person
Just for you.
who is listening right now.
Neil, how dare you talk before I've introduced you? How dare you, sir? How dare you? Got to start from the top. Hello,
Completely
my name
start
is...
over.
See, now I got to do it again. You talked again. Hold on. Taking it from the top. No, I'm just kidding. You guys have chosen to view a horrible gaming podcast, and you've already got some of the horrible going on. And the person who jumped the gun in my delightful intro is... go ahead, introduce yourself.
I thought you were just going to go ahead and introduce me anyways.
Totally thrown
Because
her
I was
under the
about to
bus.
say,
Totally thrown her
how
under the bus.
can you yell at me about jumping the gun before I introduce myself, and then you go ahead and introduce me, Neil, a.k.a. a Tiny Wizard?
I did not introduce you, though.
Almost.
And, hypocrisy unmatched. So moving on, we've got an interesting show for you guys today. But before we get into it, we got to thank the people who helped us here. So, number one, the graphic behind us are fancy heads that you are now seeing for the, I think, third episode in a row.
Yeah, that sounds right. Sounds correct.
That was provided by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then, of course, the music here on this show and all of the shows here on OMG is provided by my brother, the man who makes the music, Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our first segment, our most important segment. That's Fanteraction. That's where we, the co-hosts, talk to you guys, the fans. We read all your comments on YouTube and anywhere else we can find them. We appreciate all of them. And yeah, we just riff on them. We talk to you guys. Sometimes we ask you questions. So let's get into it. First and foremost, as always, our buddy William Hohen. Hi! Exclamation point. I feel I should jump into No Man's Sky. Parentheses. It's on sale right now on PSN. I watched your recent review of the new content and it definitely spoke to me. I promise you there will be shit to buy in Cash Shop on free-to-play games on Xbox, even if you need to suffer ads. Gotta love modern gaming. As usual, thanks for the show. Hashtag no ads in gaming. I love that. I love that hashtag, Will. So real quick, Will, I do want to tell you, should you decide to pick up No Man's Sky, it is a great game. I really love it. It definitely spoke to me. It's very open, very do anything. However, you gotta get through the first tutorial stuff, and it takes forever. You're talking a few hours of play to get through that opening tutorial, which is my biggest complaint on that game. You get stuck at, like, you start on a planet, and you have to fix a ship, and then you have to get off the thing, and then you have to fix another thing, and then you have to build your base, and then you have to go here, and it takes you through all of the beginning stuff, but it takes you through it at a snail's pace. Don't give up, my friend. Once you get through that, it really opens up, and it's a beautiful game, should you decide to try it. Other than that, yeah, ads suck, man. Modern gaming sucks when it comes to ads. And I don't mind ads, like product placement, like I don't mind Chevys in my GTA, but like please, please, please don't pause the gameplay to tell me about the new Johnny Depp movie. I don't want to know, okay? So yeah. So anything to add to that one, Neil?
Yeah, I actually think you kind of touched on something that's a little important with that. And I think it is like the context and how whatever it is fits into the type of game. So like you'd mentioned, Chevy vehicles and GTA, stuff like that. It fits because, it's
Right.
kind of car centric,
Right.
I don't know maybe the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile might be kind of fun to have in GTA. But like if you have just like some random ass like the Totino's pizza roll car or something like that, like that's just completely out of left field.
Right.
Again, it kind of fits with GTA. GTA's got that weird streak to it.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're, in like a super serious something, or like God help you if it's supposed to be like a horror game and it's like completely out of nowhere, like brought to you by Bang Energy or something like that, just totally out of left field. Yeah, that's going to detract from it.
Yeah, and I personally, even the out of left field stuff that's a gameplay thing, like I'm more okay with. Like, you want to put a crazy skin on a car for like ads, whatever. I'm all right with that because I can still play the game. What I really don't want to see is like ad breaks in the game. That is thing that I really I would draw the line on that. Like I don't want to see that. I don't want like, oh, you've been playing for 2 hours? Well, we got to pause the game so that you can hear about the NBA playoffs on TNT. That I don't want that. I don't want ad breaks in the thing. If the main character really likes to eat Cheetos, fine. But like don't stick ad breaks in,
Yeah.
All right. But thanks, Will. We always appreciate the comment. Always, always. And then our other Foundation member, Mr. Philbilly330, got very loquacious. And I'm going to try and read these in the right order because they kind of refer to each other. So, I hate, sometimes it like posts them. There we go. Okay. All right. So first, he referring to your chair situations, he says, Neil, I highly recommend the HBATA Ergo / gaming chair off Amazon for $180 and very sturdy. Has lumbar and all that I've had and all that. I've had mine for a year with no issues. Way more comfortable than a racing / gaming chair and still has a good looking aesthetic. Which he didn't buy that, Phil.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was actually talking to Zach before we started everything. Because I was so frustrated with it after the last recording. Like, actively, you can go back and watch me slowly sink down constantly. And then the next morning, I had to do some homework stuff before I went to work. And it was just getting to the point that, like, I would bring it up and it wouldn't even hold for like 2 seconds. It would just immediately start going down. It's like, I couldn't do it anymore. I literally just Googled best chair for big and tall, and I found a top 10 list and just went strictly based off of that. So I ended up getting the actual one that I got is the Secret Lab Titan XL. It is very large and holds my fat ass perfectly. So I'm in it right now. It feels great. I feel wonderful. I feel supported. Yeah. Would have been nice to have only paid about $200 for a chair. But you know, it's fine.
Didn't see the post.
I didn't see it. Yeah, I did not see it.
I will say too, Phil, you are a much more smelt individual than myself or Neil. As far as weight on the chair. Continuing though, he does say, Borderlands weapons issues aren't the fault of procedural generation. It's that the devs have put too many variables into the algorithm. For the procedural generation, because the devs went way overboard on trying to add too much to the system that was at its peak in Borderlands 2. So, I agree with some of that. I still don't love procedurally generated weapons. I just don't. Especially in a game where you're trying to build a specific thing. I want to be able to get the thing that makes my build better. Or at least get close to the thing that makes my build better. And the way that procedurally generated weapons, not just in Borderlands, in all games, does it is it just pumps out a weapon. And you've got to make that weapon work or go find another weapon. And I don't love that. If I'm trying to build something specific, I don't want to kill something 7 times to try and get the thing. Even if the drop rates are okay, I just don't want to. I want to have the thing that I need to make the thing work. So the fun to me is the build itself, not necessarily grinding out the build, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just my feeling on it, though. I definitely agree with him, though, that they went overboard in Borderlands 3 with that sort of thing.
Yeah, and you know, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head too, because from playing Borderlands 2 and then going into 3, seeing the weapons how they were in 2, and like the types of drops you would get, like I can just feel in playing the game in 2, 9 times out of 10 within 5 to 10 minutes while I'm playing the game, something else drops that I at least stop and consider, oh, hey, that's actually, you know, good or better or can, you know, suit my play style to some degree. 3 was fine, but like I was saying, like in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, like it is very rare that I come across anything that suits me or my play style.
Well, speaking on that, Phil Billy calls you out on that, actually.
Yeah, I saw this, yeah.
He goes, Neil, you're dogging on one of the best improvements to Tiny Tina's over Borderlands 3. They definitely toned back the legendary drop rates, which is awesome for me. I know you're not a big end game player, but the end game of Borderlands 3 was terrible because the legendaries would fall from the sky like Butt Stallion's ass, and it ruined the specialness of the legendary weapons. And the bad thing was how much crap the devs attached to the guns. You had like a 0.00001% chance of getting what you actually need. And what he's speaking to specifically is when you're building that build, you need a gun, but you need that gun to have specific effects
Right.
and things on it. And they added so many effects into the procedural generation that when you'd get that legendary pop, it was just random ass effect bullshit. Whereas this one, it's much more refined to what that weapon is. And I will agree to Phil Billy's point. I have found some weapons that work kind of for my build, and I'm not an in-game yet, but I actually was able to find those weapons again that still worked for my build with minor changes without having to, like, get lost in it. The Borderlands 3 had too many guns and effects. Just so much that, like, it was overload, and it overloaded that random loot generation to the point where, like, you could never get what you needed, whereas Tiny Tina has definitely refined that to the point where you can get what you need specifically.
Yeah, I definitely. This is weird because like I completely agree with what you guys are saying.
Right.
But like I also approach these types of games completely differently too. Like I don't when I play them, I tailor it more to a specific feel that I want, not necessarily I want to build that focuses on X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
So like right now, like I don't want to be able to like min max and do whatever it is that I want to do. My focus with my character right now is literally just reload speed and cooldown. That is it. I'm not searching for like certain effects. Like if the loot drops, like there's an armor piece that dropped for me that I got. It gives me like an extra 3 or 4 to my reload speed.
Right.
There's something like that. Like that's great. Like cool. And that like plays into kind of what we were talking about before. Like, yeah, that's a piece of armor that I want or need, but at the same time, I'm not looking for if it doesn't have this, then I just don't want it. Like,
Right.
it's a weird predicament, but
It
no, I
is.
totally will
It
get what you
is.
guys are saying.
I think too, one thing that is nice, and I will say for Tiny Tina, is the way you play this game. Even though it doesn't feel like it in the moment, it actually supports that a little bit more with the way they do the class system, to where you could actually do more in this game than you probably could in Borderlands 3 playing that way. Because when you get to a certain point in Borderlands 3, if you're not min-maxing, you're not going to be able to beat the high-level stuff,
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I feel like it can. Phil Billy continues. Zach, you gotta get to Endgame. It is all procedural generation, and I think you'll like it. I replied to him, and I said, I'm trying. Laugh out loud. I've had kind of a problem with Tiny Tina, and that is that, like, I'm not shitting on Tiny Tina. It's a great game. It's just that I got it 3 days before I went on vacation. I didn't play it for a week. The Phils basically 100% of the game before I even got back into town. So, like, playing with them, I don't want to because they're so much farther in the story. I don't want stuff to get ruined. So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, there's just so much in this game to get through. And then they added this DLC, which we're going to talk about in a second, like 30 days after the game came out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm suffering intimidation fatigue with this game. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
and I've got so many other games to get through. I have another week going by without a review because any free time I have is spent on this game. And like I don't know, it's tricky with me on this because I enjoy it. I enjoy all the time that I'm spending with it, but it is definitely keeping me from doing other things. So I don't know, it's weird, but I'm really trying to get to Endgame.
Yeah, I haven't been able to play it as much as I would like to either. we actually had some time Saturday evening that we were actually going to try to play for at least like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. Turn the game on. There was a 5 GB update. So it's like,
Yep.
all right, well, that's not happening.
Well, and that was the
And that was
the DLC already. Like, I wish they
Yeah.
had spaced that out just a little bit. Like, I know people love content, and I'm sure that like the fills were ready for it, but like I feel like one extra month wouldn't have hurt anybody, and it definitely wouldn't
No.
make me feel like I'm like
Behind the ball.
yeah, I'm like 20 hours behind in play somehow, even though I've already put 20 hours in, and it's just I don't know. That kind of stuff. I don't know. I wish they had waited just a little bit, just a little bit. He continues to say, yes, Diablo dungeons were procedural generation from what I
Okay.
remember. So that answers that question.
Yeah.
And then he finishes by saying, by the way, guys, as much as it seems like I'm praising Tiny Tina's, don't get me wrong. I love it. I am really enjoying it. But for everything they've done right, and really, well, there is an equal number of dumb missteps they've made. If you do an in-depth TTW Tiny Tina's Wonderlands podcast, I would love to be involved to delve in. Note, I bought the DLC 1, so you don't have to. Don't waste your money. So I think that's a great idea. I think maybe next week. What do you think about that? We have Phil Billy on, and we do a Tiny Tina deep dive.
The only thing with that is I still like we just hit level 10. Like we barely have
You got a
scratched
week.
the surface.
You got a week, baby. Play a little bit
I
more.
will be able to squeeze maybe one more hour out of that week.
1 hour in 7 days.
Yeah.
That's sad. Well, I think
Yeah.
we should do it anyway. Because if we wait any longer,
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
if-
miss the boat.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, yeah, I'll be on. I'll be able to put in my 2 cents as much as I possibly can.
Well, you can at least talk about the co-op thing that you weren't enjoying. So,
Well, yeah,
and
yeah,
we
because
have
I'm coming.
all had different
yeah.
experiences with it. So yeah, I think we'll try and do that next week, there, Phil Billy, if you're up to it. All right, so that was a long fan traction, but we are done, and that's it. Do we want to move on to our talking point?
Sure.
All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our first. Why do I keep saying first? Just old habit won't die. Our talking point. So, there's been some news this week, a little bit of news here and there, and we had a hard time picking out which one we wanted to do a full 30, 40 minutes on. But we have decided on a really shitty one. A really shitty one. It's not gonna.
Hey.
It's not going to interest all of you, but this is definitely one that affects the two of us because I would have purchased this game. I will not be now. So Sega announced something that has been kind of a fan staple. People have wanted this for a long time, and that would be Sonic Origins. So this is the first 4 classic Sega games remastered and put on next generation games into one collection. That includes Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and then Sonic and Knuckles. And then, of course, it has little additions where you can play like Knuckles through the whole thing and stuff like that. They also announced their pricing guide, and it is some hot garbage sprinkled on a juicy turd. Basically, and I don't know if I've got all of this right, but basically, they are locking a number of not just like bonus features, but like playable things from the game. They're locking it behind an increased price point to start. So like it comes out, it's $39.99, but you can spend $49.99 for it to get these features. And these features include like a hard mode, a mirror mode, like actual things that will increase, like actual game modes are locked behind this price point. But to make matters worse, there is a few features, again, features that are actually like, I believe it's the soundtrack thing, like a playable soundtrack, and then one other thing, like I think it's like character animations or something, are locked behind a pre-order. So not only do you have to pay that extra price point, but you have to purchase it before it comes out in order to get all the features in the game. This is erroneous, but Neil, if you want to start us off, that's fine.
Yeah, so to give you a little bit more of the context with everything, like there's
Mm.
the standard edition, which can also be pre-ordered.
Okay.
So that just comes with, if you get the standard edition with the pre-order, it is the main game, as well
Games,
as
yeah.
100 bonus coins, whatever that even means. The mirror mode, which is possible to unlock in game, comes unlocked in the pre-order. And the letterbox background,
Mm.
whatever, is part of the pre-order. Now, it is worth noting that in the little announcement for it, it straight up mentions the hard mode
Yep.
as one of the features of the
Mhm.
game. It is not a part of the game. So there is the Start Dash pack is a part of the standard edition pre-order. Then there is the premium fun pack, which also does include the letterbox background, but then has the hard missions, the hard mode in it, as well as character animation in the main menu. Why that is something that is worthy of being a part of a DLC, I will never know. Camera controls over the main menu islands, which there's zero context for that, so who knows what
What
that
that is?
means.
Yeah.
And then character animations during music islands. Again, no context. Who knows what that means? And then after that, the classic music pack, which it just has additional music tracks from the Mega Drive Genesis titles. So extra songs, I guess. And then there is the digital deluxe edition, which has literally every single piece of that. I'm sure they're going to charge $70 for all of this. There are 5 different versions of this game to give you what it was, 4 classic Sonic games
Mhm.
in a
4.
remastered format.
Mhm.
Why?
It's
Like,
insane. It's absolutely
and
insane.
and like there
It's
was a
the
period of
height
time,
of like um
ass hattery.
yeah, I guess. Like yeah.
There was a point that like we kind of all came together and realized that this is getting out of hand, because like, what was it, Mass Effect Andromeda, I think, was the one that everybody kind of got hung up on. With it had like 7 different versions. The Assassin's Creed games do this. Why in the absolute fuck are we having so many different versions of a game? Why are we having advertisements for features of a game as a part of an announcement for the game that exists, but actually are a part of a secondary, piece of the DLC, bundle or whatever? I do not understand why it is that they're doing this. I know why, the reasoning that they're doing this, because they are just thriving on the confusion, because they want people to spend as much money as humanly possible to get all of the things, because they're worried they're going to miss out on the stuff otherwise. I am one of those people who, whenever this was first announced, because this chart came out like a day or two afterwards,
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't original.
when it was first announced, I was ready.
Yeah, I was
40
excited.
bucks. I mean, I've done it before. I bought the Sonic games on every single freaking platform. I have these games in so many different places, so many different times. I would have thrown the money down for it immediately. But
Mhm.
you're chopping it up and turning it into this weird, just ridiculous facsimile of what those games were to begin with,
Yep.
and just loading it with all the modern trash.
Well, and why are we lacking features behind this kind of thing? Like, if you want the game to be $50, make it $50 and put all the features in. Like, I don't understand. Honestly, I don't understand the point of the lower price point in any way, shape, or form. Like, I feel like this, both strategically and like, I don't know, uh, 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 feeling wise, emotionally. Both of them are missteps because strategically, all you're doing is you're saying, hey, we've got all this extra garbage we're locking behind the features, but you can still get the games for the lower price pack. Well, why do that? Why even do that is my thing. All you do here is you piss off your consumer base. You piss them real off. I mean, IGN's doing stories on it. There is tons of Reddit threads that are very angry about this. Like, you pissed off loyal fans. But on top of that, you made a way for them to literally cut your knees off and not spend extra money for all the other bullshit. I think that, like, personally, hear me out. I don't necessarily think it needs all the extra bells and whistles. Those 4 games are classic platformers, absolute classic platformers. I think that you could very easily sell them for $50 together with a hard mode and a mirror mode and some extra features. I would still be down for like $50 if you gave us all those extra features. What bothers me is the way they announced this in the first place. Why do this whole confusing thing? Just make it $50. Boom. I think the real malicious thing is the pre-order stuff. Like, that shit has got to stop. I am a firm anti pre-order stuff sort of person. This kind of pre-order shit is absolutely ridiculous. Like, they use this to generate funds. They use this to get you into a thing that you can't get out of because there's no good refund policy for games like this, services like this, products like this. All games are very, like, it's very hard to get a refund on a video game. Even harder to get a refund on a digital video game. And they get you with these pre-orders. You pre-order, you've bought it before they've even sold it to you, and so you don't even, like, you're buying the idea of a thing. And I don't know, like, I hate locking some of these features behind pre-order, and I think the tier list is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, what I think they really did was they tried doing this here so that they could justify charging $60 for basically the games that everyone collectively knows that we all already have multiple times, multiple different things with purchases of. I am also looking here as well on the Steam page itself. It's showing that there is de novo DRM built into this game as well, so that's going to be fun. Because I don't know if you're familiar with de novo, but a lot of the times when de novo gets put into things, it really starts messing with PCs as well as just the games themselves, like, actually, and their functionality, because it's going to, like, require an internet connection and all this other stuff and all this extra fluff and guff that nobody wants, needs, or asks for. And honestly, this is really sad because
yeah, it really is.
When the news and everything started coming out about this, from what I understand, this is the same team that worked on Sonic Mania.
Really?
Sonic Mania, yeah.
I didn't know that they had the Sonic Mania people do that. That's kind of terrible. Because
it's there's Christian Whitehead, I believe, is one of the ones. If you've played any of the ports for, like, Android and stuff like that, the Sonic the Hedgehog 4, I believe they also did work on. But yeah, I believe it is the Sonic Mania team as well, which was originally a modding community, from my understanding. And they just did such good work. Sega was like, hey, we got something you can do in an official capacity. And I don't know about you, but I absolutely loved Sonic Mania. It was everything that I wanted from a new Sonic game, a new 2D Sonic game. And I was expecting something like Sonic Mania 2. I mean, we got this Sonic Origins was announced, and I was super ready for it. And immediately, all this stuff starts coming out about it. why is it that we feel the need to inject the older games, these classic games, with this sort of stuff? um I get it, like they're remastered and stuff like that, and if you want to charge $40 for these games, even if you want to charge $50 for these games, just say, hey, we did some extra work, we did some remastering. How much does it actually really take to do a mirror mode? I mean, I could be completely wrong in this, but I'm going to assume it's a simple line of code. I could be, again, very wrong. But, the mirror mode, the hard mode, something that adds something new to these games, is locked behind an additional paywall. And I don't believe the price tiers have come out for these either. We know the base game is $40, and the digital deluxe is $44.99. But all these other things, how they're going to be priced separately, are they basically forcing you into doing the pre-order for it to be able to
Yeah.
get everything?
Yeah.
Or because who knows, it's going to wind up being one of those things to where, oh, well, if you pre-order, it's like, $44.99, but if you go and buy it all separate afterwards, you're looking at $70. Like,
Yeah, I think
I,
that's well, that's the thing. I don't. Okay, first of all, we're gonna disagree on a couple of things. I think with a remaster like this, with a game that's old, a game that, like you said, most of us have on our hard drive, I think those features that you don't necessarily think you need are absolutely 100% needed. I need hard mode,
oh yeah,
mirror mode, all of that shit. You need that in a game like this. Everybody has the originals somewhere on their hard drives, and anybody who's a fan of it, anybody who's interested in this, already has these games somewhere. So you need those extra features. You need those bells and whistles to really pop off a collection like this and get the price point. Personally, though, I think, and this is probably not going to be a fan favorite theory, but I I I think that if they had said this, like, $50, this is everything, I think you would have a split. You'd have some people saying it was too expensive. You'd have a lot of Sonic diehards saying, no, 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 it's the right price. You get all these extra things. It's great. And I think it would slowly slip into nothingness as far as the story. People would just be like, maybe it's a little bit too expensive, and then they just move on. Instead, you have what you've created here is you have created this, like, real snowball buzz over the entire pre-order thing and the pricing tier stuff and stuff like that. They really did this dumb. Like, that cheaper version, which, don't get me wrong, I don't want to spend $50 for these games, but that cheaper version is just a mistake consumerally for that company. Like, it's a public relations nightmare. It's not the price point they want, obviously, because they're throwing all this other shit at you to get you to spend more money on it. So it's obviously not what they want you to spend for this game. And it's just created this conversation in which we never would have had this conversation if you had just priced the game what you wanted it to be as one thing, and then the only conversation would be, is it too overpriced or is it not? And you would have some people saying yes and some people saying no, which is always the thing with every game that ever comes out. I think is this whole tier list is the problem. The confusing tier list, the fact that you've locked some of it behind things, the fact that you're gonna lock actual game features, not even just game features, but like menu shit. Your menus, if you play this game on standard mode, are gonna look different from a menu that somebody's playing at the premium. That's insane. I've never heard of that before. That's craziness to me. So, like, I think this lower price point game consumerly is a mistake by that company. And I think that this whole, like, locking shit behind pre-orders is just the worst shit, period, because they really want you to buy a bunch of shit you may or may not need. And I will agree with you on one point. I really don't like the way they're wording about any of this, because half of the stuff that they list in this tier list, there's no explanation as to what it is. There is like a line that means it could be cool, it could not, it could be nothing. Like the camera control on menu islands. What the fuck does that mean? I played all
Right.
four of those games. There is no overworld map in any of them. There is kind of an island in the background behind Sonic who's doing his finger thing, but like that's why would you need camera control on that? Like what the fuck are they talking about there? And that is real insidious because what you do there is you create FOMO by not describing it in any way shape or form. You're not telling the consumers what they're getting in any way shape or form. And that's my big problem. I The price points don't bother me because sure, I'm going to look at those price points and decide, hey, is it worth it to spend that money or not? You know? But they haven't allowed you to do that. That's the real problem. Is that they have a price point one, then they've got a price point two, then they've got a couple of price points that they're not even telling you about, then they've got a pre order lock wall, and then they've got just tons of features that they're not even explaining to you. So they're not explaining what you're getting for your money, and that's really the insidious part to me.
And this is something that's like I'd mentioned that's been done by other games too. It's like intentionally made confusing. I mean, we even have now the ridiculousness of special editions of games that are up for pre-orders that don't even have the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what kind of dystopian ass,
Yeah.
situation are we living
Yeah.
in? It's like it's seriously like you hear that you think it's wrong. You think there's a joke. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like I would think it was a joke,
Yeah.
but it's not. You are paying in some cases like, this here, I mean this game here is, small potatoes compared to something like, a Call of Duty or something like that, where your base game now is going to cost $70, and well, your super ultra mega collector's edition is going to have,
Right.
this skin and that skin, but you're not going to be able to get it in this other edition. But then this other edition that you buy has things that are not available in that other edition we were just talking about.
Right.
And oh, by the way, this one comes with the game and this one doesn't. It just makes people like feel like you said, it's like a FOMO thing.
Yeah.
If you want to get the thing that you want, you've got to release a whole ass chart for people to sift through and figure out what exactly it is that they're going to get for the money that they're paying.
Right.
Which sounds like a really just fucked up version of almost like a loot box or something, because like you're in some cases
Yeah.
you're paying for something and you're going to get something, but you may not also get what it is that you want unless you look at a chart.
The gaming industry really gets away with murder, and they get away with
Yeah.
murder because nobody outside the gaming industry takes it seriously. When you look at other major mainstay industries in America or anywhere else, like the car industry, the real estate industry, even people who are not in those industries, even people who are not necessarily like car guys or real estate agents, they still respect that industry. When they hear things about that industry, they cry outrage when there's something bad, or they celebrate something good that happens in it. They're hot button issues. Gaming is looked at by people outside of gaming as a toy or a hobby or a pastime, and it allows these billion-dollar corporations, like gaming makes more money than all movies, all TV combined, and it allows them to get away with literally murder because nobody's checking them. Nobody's checking them because nobody takes this stuff seriously. It's why the unionization stuff isn't being backed by anybody. Nobody's helping them do that. It's why it took so long for some of these like absolute human rights violations to get any sort of like real world traction, because nobody looks at this right away. And even politicians who start to champion these causes, they get laughed at by other politicians, and it doesn't get them anything, so they don't. it's one of the big problems with gaming is really like its own corner, even though it's so huge. And because of that, these companies literally just can do whatever they want. There is absolutely no accountability in the gaming industry for any CEO or anybody higher up. And don't get me wrong, I know there's going to be plenty of people out there who are like, "Oh, the car industry's corrupt, the real estate industry is corrupt." Not saying it's not, guys. It's all got corruption. Everybody's got corruption. But on the same front, gaming does not get the same kind of like severe attention when some of this shit happens, you know? And I think that like that kind of thing needs to start happening for any of these things to stop, because it's just going to keep getting worse. Like, either that or us as consumers, which this never happens, but us as consumers stop it by stop giving them money. The people who are doing the wrong thing. Exactly. Those are the two options, and we're not. I will say this. I think this is the first time in history when I've looked at one of these things, one of these egregious offenses with the tier scale, and actually thought to myself, this might be the time that Sega regrets this. Because, just like you said, these games are real old. These games are real old, and everybody's got them who wants them. So, like, the people who don't want them are definitely not going to spend crazy amounts of money and try and decipher the tier list in order to get the right version. And the people who do have them might not buy them again because of this. So, I don't know. I think that this is a very interesting story because it could end badly for Sega, which, Lord, it needs to. I think that this needs to be a wake-up call to somebody that they can't do this to us. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, I would love to say confidently that, Sega's going to learn a lesson.
Well, I'm not going to say confidently. I said it very unconfidently.
That's the thing, is I don't think anything's really going to come of this. I think it's going to be one of those things. The game's going to come out. Nobody's going to really buy it. We're going to see news stories. Shocker, nobody bought the new Sonic game. It's going to go on sale on Steam, and then
it's nice to hear you be the. It's nice to hear you be the negative one for a change on one of these things, and me to be the optimist. Usually, it's me like nothing's gonna change. Yeah, the world is terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No,
The only reason I think it could is because of what they're trying to sell. Like, they're trying to sell one of these remakes for a game that's like 30 fucking years old, 30 plus years old. You know what I mean? Like, this is not the place to do one of these tier lists. This isn't GTA 6, Like, people can skip this one. So, like, especially since I think you can even play most of these in the fucking Switch Online upgrade. Like,
yeah, you can play them in the Switch Online upgrade.
Exactly.
And they are currently available on Steam for $5 each.
Exactly. So why are you spending that $50 for that? You know what I mean? Like, I think this is the first time that this might bite them in the ass. But we got to move on unless you got anything else to add. I think we've covered it. All right,
I believe that's it.
Let's hit these odds and ends because there's some big ones.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to odds and ends, ladies and gentlemen. What's odds and ends? Well, it's our last segment, and we collect smaller stories that don't necessarily deserve a talking point, but we want to tell you about them. We want to riff about them. We want to give you the skinny. Maybe they're funny. Maybe they're interesting. Whatever. So here we go. I got 5. Neil's got 3. I'm going to start us off. I'm going to start with my biggest one, in my opinion, that's most going to be said. So, anybody out there, you may or may not be following this story. Bungie is having serious DMCA issues. And I did a little deep dive on it. Actually, courtesy of a YouTuber, if you guys like legal shit, I urge you to check her out. Her name is Emily Baker. She's on YouTube, and she does these streams where basically, because a lot of people don't know this, but anything that is ever filed in the courts ever is actually public record. Period. So what she does is she goes and finds the legal, like she doesn't request them. She goes to the websites. She gets the legal documents for court cases that are popular, such as Johnny Depp Amber Heard, or Activision Blizzard or stuff like that. And then she basically reads the legal documents and kind of deciphers it for the layman's. It's actually very interesting. My wife, who is a paralegal, is very, very, very into law stuff like this, and she loves her. So if you guys would find that interesting at all, go check her out. She's a very popular YouTuber. But she actually did a little bit of a deep dive on this. She actually got the court case files and all that and went into it. And I was very interested in it because I was very confused about it. So let me set the table. A few weeks back, Bungie all of a sudden started copyright striking very popular Bungie YouTubers. Okay, these guys and girls are people who do constant content for Destiny 2. They're basically the streaming and content community for Destiny 2. All of a sudden, they started getting copyright strikes, and even some of them had their YouTube channels suspended. Okay, and basically it was for content. Well, Bungie has a user agreement that says that they would never give out a copyright strike or copyright infringement for the fair use of their video game in videos. I mean, it's all part of Bungie's whole thing. Like, it's an MMO, it's a free to play MMO. This is the thing that they need. They need streaming communities. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, immediately the people, took to all the places and were like, Bungie, WTF, what's going on? And Bungie was like, we did not in any way, shape, or form authorize these copyright strikes. So, this gets more interesting because what actually happens when you get copyright strike on the YouTube, okay, is these companies don't actually strike you. What they do is they hire out other companies to monitor YouTube stuff. That's all they do. And these companies, when they get like strike reports from YouTube, they then dish out the copyright strikes. They tell YouTube, yes, strike them, or no, don't strike them, that sort of thing. That's what these companies do. They're third-party companies. They're different vendors. Because of that, YouTube has almost no oversight on who is actually handing out the copyright strikes. Someone found a way, a loophole. They started a new Gmail account that had Bungie in the name, and then they basically found a way to get in and just start throwing copyright strikes off on behalf of Bungie. It is suspected that these people are people who receive copyright strikes themselves because of music, which is a whole different bag of crap that we're not going to open right now. But they are retaliating, so they started doing this fake thing. What's interesting is then Bungie goes, that's not us. They contact the company that does it for them. The company contacts YouTube, and YouTube actually refused to take the copyright strikes back. The reason being, the company that was contacting them didn't do the copyright strike in the first place because they're a third party and not related to Bungie. So this person basically completely cut them out. So like Bungie got real fucking pissed because basically YouTube was like, you're not Bungie, you can't do this. And Bungie was like, we're Bungie, take the copyright strikes back. What got even more interesting is, so Bungie immediately sued, and this was really weird. And this is why I did the deep dive, because I was like, I didn't know you could sue an entity without a name. But you can. You can file a lawsuit against people without any names or known, as long as basically what they're doing is they're filing a lawsuit against the people who did this. They're doing this specifically so that they can force a judge to get a court order to have Google give them the names of the people who did this. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
What's
that is...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, a little bit more.
No.
And the lawsuit that they filed just rips YouTube a new butt cheek, man. There is so much language in there that was like YouTube's flagrant disregard for like their huge loophole, their terrible security things. And a lot of it is like basically what the intent is basically with these words, Bungie is saying, you need to give us people for this or we're going to sue you. We're setting the precedent now. So like if you don't give us names, we're coming after you. So it is a very, very interesting case. But I just want to let people know what was going on at that because I did a deep dive and I just thought it was interesting. I didn't know you could sue people that you didn't have names for.
Yeah, that's that. First off, like, what is that court proceed? Like, how do you, what is it labeled as? It's
Yep.
like a Bungie Entertainment versus that one dude who sent the email for a copyright
Right?
strike. Like,
I don't
I don't
remember
know
what
how
it's
that even
called,
works.
but yeah.
But I mean, there are some implications associated with this too. I mean, when you think of a big tech company like Google, who, if essentially thrives off of collecting information, they won't, give over any sort of information, regarding to people who are posing as somebody else. And they want
Mm-hmm.
to sit there and cite, oh, well, it's, trying to protect them, or, oh, well, it's privacy, rich
Yep.
coming from Google. But it's crazy because, like you said, that does kind of open the door.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing that we know about YouTube and we've experienced over the years, is anytime there is a tiny bit of force pushback on a policy or an action or something that they're doing, YouTube is going to crazy overcorrect
Mm-hmm.
and go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And they're going to start requiring like facial scans or something to be able to get. Okay, so this is kind of beside the point, but also somewhat related too, I guess. I recently, like literally today, found out that on the Facebook app on your phone, if your account gets suspended too many times for, the community guidelines, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
basically Facebook jail, they can actually require a facial scan to get your Facebook account back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Google/YouTube
I mean,
goes ahead and does with
th-
this, because I mean, to be fair, the whole music thing that you kind of touched on, there are people who will, take and collect songs and just put them up for people
yeah.
to listen to for free, and like that's its a whole separate end of
Yeah.
things. But that's the thing, is they're going to overcorrect. Then they're going to want like official like publications, like this is me certifying that I am this individual and I own this. And if I did not certify that I made this thing that I'm putting on YouTube, I'm saying that it was stolen from somewhere else, and like all this other shit.
They already
I
do
feel
that.
like it's, yeah,
I don't mean to cut you off, but they already do
yeah.
that. The
I mean, they
real
kind of,
security
yeah,
thing that's going to get crazy is on the other end, on the people handing out the strikes. Because right
yeah,
now, if it's that easy to hand out a strike to somebody, like just make an email and call it a day, like
yeah,
that's kind of crazy. And honestly, this would be the one area which I think YouTube might need to get a little bit overboard because look, I'm a YouTuber. I do not make money off this YouTube as of today when this podcast is being formed. I have 316 subscribers. I require 10 like 1,000 of them and then like 10,000 hours of watch time to even be considered for the partnership program. I don't make money off this. However, if I was in the partnership program, there are much stricter guidelines that I have to live by. And to get this stuff taken down, it's brutal because YouTube just they will take you down and they can take you down for one copyright strike. People think that there's like a
the three
pecking order
strikes system,
and they do kind of have that, but you can get your account suspended for one if they deem it the way it is. And it can be suspended or even removed entirely. And a lot of these people make all their money from that, you know? This is
yeah,
their career, especially these Destiny guys that got this stuff taken down. And YouTube didn't give them any reason. They didn't back their play. They didn't like look into it or anything. They had to call a basic helpline and like like shit like that. Like and this is basically their job. Like so somebody needs to protect those people a little bit better than they're doing it right now. You know, like right now, if I get a copyright strike, what it is it's called a copyright claim. It's not a copyright strike because I'm not in the partnership program. So what it means is I can't make money off the thing I posted. But it's not removed, my account's not suspended, nothing like that. Now, if I was in the partnership program and I get that copyright claim, it becomes a copyright strike and they can take my stuff down, they can take the video down. They can even say they can even suspend you after you've removed the video if they think it was a flagrant violation. So like somebody needs to protect if you're going to have that strict rules on them, you can't then allow any Joe Schmo to hand that shit out just because they were feeling dicked that day, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, if you remember back too, it's been a while. It was actually the last one that I did. But when I did my terrible talk forever ago about Cyberpunk and how it was turning out,
we had a big problem with that.
We had a problem with it because I had put a music track that was present in Tron Legacy behind everything, and go figure, Daft Punk did the soundtrack for that. So of course Daft Punk has feelers out there. And when the video got uploaded, it had said, "Hey, we noticed there's licensed music here." So it like attempted to kind of rip the music away, but keep the main audio. And
that was an option
it was
that I
option,
selected
yeah.
to attempt to do it. Which, in fairness, there's a couple of options. I can just mute all the audio for that time. I can just take the claim, or I can attempt their beta version of mute just the audio that it was. And sometimes it works. One of the Axiom videos that we posted, the VODs, because he'll play like what's supposed to be license free music in the background for Twitch. Sometimes they're not license free for YouTube. And it got flagged when I put the VOD in for YouTube, and the mute worked just fine on that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. With yours, the thing is, the reason I avoid those copyright claims is if I get into the partnership program, well, to be considered for the partnership program, you go, "Hey, I want to be in the partnership program. I've got the numbers." And then they go, "Okay." And then there is a month-long review process where they look at all your shit and they decide whether they're going to let you in or not. So, we're probably never going to make the partnership program, but if we ever did, I don't want a ton of copyright claim stuff. So, right now, as it stands, we're copyright claim free. We have not had any copyright claims. We had a couple almost misses, but I fought one, which made me very nervous, and we actually won it, which was fun, which was nice. It's rare. We actually won the copyright claim because it was my brother's original music, and they said it was this French Canadian rock star, and we were like, "No, the fuck it is," and somehow we actually won that one. And then there's been a couple other where I've had to mute or take the audio out. But we try and avoid that just because of that. So, but yeah, it's rough. It's rough. But we need to move on. If you want to go with one of yours, that'd be fine.
Yeah, so continuing on with shitty shit that's shitty. A judge has dismissed the class action lawsuit filed by investors against Activision Blizzard, who claimed that the company misled them about sexual harassment allegations. Yay. Yay.
I'm just gonna move on. I don't want to comment on that because I'm just gonna start freaking out.
I mean, what it boils down to, effectively
it's money.
Again, it's money. It's more covering for people.
If you have enough money, you can kill, rape, murder, do whatever you want, and that's the sad reality of America. And that kind of thing that you just said just depresses me so much, and I don't want to go on a rant. That's just absolute depression. So I'm just gonna do another one if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We went crazy long on that other one. So
yeah, I'm not trying to cut you off. You're
fine.
I can't take the emotions that I would have to channel to speak on that. All right, so this one's a funny one. We're gonna do a funny one because we need a funny one. It's also kind of a sad one, but it's also kind of a funny one. There are these people that it never fails to be interesting how gamers will troll other gamers. So Elden Ring, one of the most popular, if not the most popular game in the world right now. You know it if you're watching this channel what it is. Basically in the game there's a mechanic where like people can invade your world and like without like they can come into your world and try and kill you or try and do other stuff. They can come in negatively. I'm not exactly sure how that mechanic works, but there is a mechanic for it. Like you can bring people in your world to help you, but people can also just jump in and attack you in certain situations. But there are these people who are running around using a hacked item to get people banned from Elden Ring, and it is called the Deathbed Smalls. So if you are an Elden Ring player and you ever see an item laying on the ground called the Deathbed Smalls, do not interact with it. I mean it. So basically what the Deathbed Smalls is it is a jock strap. It's a jock strap that somebody hacked into the game that gives you really awesome buffs. But Elden Ring dropped the ban hammer on the person who had made the Deathbed Smalls. But the Deathbed Smalls actually got out into the world. And these other hackers, what they'll do is they'll pick up the Deathbed Smalls. They won't put it on, but they'll go into somebody else's world and they'll drop it there. And then the other person will just be walking along. They'll pick it up and they'll be like, oh, this item's awesome. They'll put it on and their account will be banned. This is a real thing. It's a real thing that's happening. People are dropping this jockstrap in other people's games. People pick it up, they put on the jockstrap, they get banned. It's a real thing. Real thing.
So how in the world is it that FromSoft hasn't managed to get this thing removed from the game?
Right?
That's what gets me.
Right? I'm going to guess that somebody duped enough of them with other hackers and then they just spread it. So then
now they're slowly just circulating.
It's basically a human spread virus in Elden Ring via a job strap. It is the funniest shit I read. Like they'll just invade, they'll drop this thing, and then they'll just jump out and hope that you just walk across it, you know? It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. So if you see anybody out there playing Elden Ring, you see an item called the Deathbed Smalls, do not put it on. Do not pick it up. Do not interact with it.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunate, too, if you get banned for that.
Yeah, it is. It's still funny as shit to me. I don't know why. Like, it's terrible for people, but, like, it's just funny as shit to me. I got 3 left.
I got 2 left.
Do you want me to do another one now, or do you want to just do another one?
No, I'll go. Okay. So we just complained about this earlier at the top of the show last week. The story continues. I guess Sony is also planning on putting ads in its free-to-play games as well.
Everybody's
surprising literally nobody.
Everybody's gonna.
Yeah, a little bit more info has come out about Sony's plans, however. They plan on putting the ads in inconspicuous places like billboards and on TVs in games, as well as offering special advertisements that the players can watch optionally to get the special content if they desire. So they are at least aiming to not have it be intrusive. I'm going to assume Microsoft is going to do the same thing, but I don't know, man. I still hate it.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It needs to not be intrusive, though. Absolutely needs to not be intrusive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, in free to play, I would love it. And Will's right. There's still going to be a bunch of microtransactions, but I'd love it.
Oh yeah.
If you told me up front, hey, we're not going to do loot boxes anymore or weird battle passes, but like you can earn everything in game, but you're going to see Cheetos cars running around, I'd be like, sure, I'm down. I'll take Cheetos cars, you know. But like, the problem is it's just another way to wring money out of us while saying they don't make enough money, which is bullshit because they make more money than every other fucking industry on the planet, you know?
Yep.
All right, so moving on, I have a kind of a happy one for me. I'm kind of excited for this. This is the first video game movie I think outside of the Sonic 2 that I think I'm actually excited for. It has been recently announced. Oh baby, oh baby, they're making a Streets of Rage movie.
Really?
Yes, and I know what you're gonna say. Oh, that's gonna suck. Guess who they got to write it?
Who?
The man behind John Wick, baby, Derek Kolstad.
Oh, all right. All right. I'm
Yeah,
intrigued.
yeah. Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Color
I
me
missed, yeah, I
intrigued.
missed
I'm in.
this.
I'm in. He needs to get away from the gunshot and more into the punchy, but I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage has been greenlit. It is being written by the writer. I got the wrong name. It's Chad Stanowski. Oh, Derek Kolstad was the director of Wick. I'm pretty sure. Now it's gonna bother me. I'm gonna have to look it up. But yeah, it is the writer of John Wick is the one who is writing it. Which I've got some hope. I've got some hope.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that just reminded me that John Wick.
Oh no, it is Derek Kolstad. Haha, I was right the first time. Yay me! I played myself. So yeah, so Derek Kolstad is writing it. So yeah. So what were you saying?
I was just saying that just reminded me that John Wick 4 got delayed.
Yeah, it's a bummer. That's a bummer. That's a real bummer.
Oh well.
It's all right.
All right. Well, on to my last one. So some Halo Infinite news has come out. A couple different things. So they're going to have in their Lone update coming out May 3rd, a new mode called Last Spartan Standing, which is basically a battle royale.
And they said they were never gonna put it in there.
Yeah, and that's the next part of it. That's the next part of this. They said they were never going to put a battle royale. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he seems to think that that's not a battle royale. Technically, it's just a game mode. I think that's the technical, quote unquote, that they're using to get around saying, "Oh, well, it's not actually a battle royale mode because it's just a normal. It's a normal ass map."
Is it one death?
Yeah.
Is it one death to die?
Yeah.
Last person standing. Does the ring shrink?
And the ring shrinks. Yes.
Done. It's a battle royale.
That's
a battle royale.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards too. So
343, you lying sacks of shit. That's a battle royale. Fucking from start to finish, it's a battle royale. Fuck you guys.
So there's that. They also said that apparently campaign co-op is set to come in August.
Yeah.
We
sure.
will see.
Okay.
We will see. And apparently an
Don't
open
buy
beta
it.
for Forge in September. Again, we will see.
This is what, the third window we've had for those fucking things? I think it's the third, if you count the release.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say now, especially given like the multiplayer numbers have been steadily dwindling on Steam and Twitch now. There was an update I saw the other day that Twitch viewership for Halo Infinite is now below Master Chief Collection. So what I am going to say at this point is if August and September come along, or even before that, they have to delay outside of 22 into 23.
It's over.
Then yeah, go ahead and cancel it because nobody's gonna care at that.
Congrats, Phil. That was one of his predictions, man. Congrats, man. You got that one right. Halo is fucking dying, man. Dying a slow death.
Yeah, it's a combination of a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't feel bad for them. Good. The fuckers lied to us. They cut the game into pieces, and then when they released it, they just kept pushing shit back that people wanted. Like, what do you expect from people? What do you expect? How far do you expect them to stay with you for bullshit that you just keep feeding them?
And that's the biggest issue that the Halo community has been very much like. There's been no updates. There's been no anything. They've extended season 1 of multiplayer like 1.5 times the length that it was supposed to because they said something about they wanted to make sure they got everything right, this, that, and the other. And they're now going to be moving on to season 2 in roughly basically a week and a half or so at this point, or when you are listening to this. So, yeah, I'm very much still want to get back into Halo Infinite because I just have too many other games. I haven't even touched, Horizon in a hot minute. Eventually I'll get back to it, but that's the thing is between everything that I have available right now, Halo is not my top
Right.
priority
Right.
because there's just better things out there. Like I said, I didn't hate it, but I mean, it wasn't enough to make me like, this is Halo's future or
Halo
anything.
343 has a real problem with just thinking Halo is a win right off the bat. I feel
Yeah.
like when you look back at every 343 Halo step, it's kind of like it's going to be a success. It's got Halo attached. And then it never is as much of a success as they want, but they just think that like people love Halo, so it'll be a success. And guys, you're slipping. Like this to me, this is the last straw. Like I don't think 343 should be allowed to make another Halo game. I think you need to give it to a different company, or let it rest for a while. But it's shameful the way they've handled Infinite, in my
Well,
opinion.
you say
Boycott
rest.
Halo. Hashtag boycott Halo.
Well, here's the problem though. You said let it rest for a while. They did. Between Halo 5, there
Right.
was Halo Wars 2, which is
Not
it's a
really.
different
Yeah.
genre. It doesn't really count, but like that was it. This
Yeah.
this was the result of the rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if the
I think
game
343 is a shitty studio. I mean, I'm going to come out and say that. I like look at what they have produced in the amount of time they've produced it and the quality of the things that they've produced. They 343. Newsflash, guys. You have to make one game right. One. That's it. You don't make any other games. Name another 343 Studios game. You can't. 343, you got to make one game. That's fucking Halo. That's it. That's all you got to do. In the amount of time you've had it, what have you done? You've redone Reach, which nobody liked. You've done fucking Halo 5, which nobody liked. Multiplayer was okay, but nobody liked it. Then you took a break. You fucking redid an engine, a whole engine, just so that you could delay this game 3 times, cut it into pieces, and just shit all over it, man. Sorry, man. 343 is a shitty studio. I'm saying it.
Yeah. So go on ahead with your last
I have 2 more.
our last two. Sorry.
My first one is a quick one. This is not a game that I have ever played. It's always looked cool to me, but 2D fighters are beyond my skills when it comes to like online. I like a 3D fighter that's a little bit more slow and methodical, like For Honor, stuff like that. With that being said, if you are a Dragon Ball Fighters fan, then you are in a rough spot because that game has outlasted a lot of other fighting games that were released in its same year by quite a large margin. And it's been still featured in tournaments. However, it is no longer being featured in tournaments, and it is starting to wane because they released a fighter called Android 21. This fighter is completely and totally broken. And even the pros that stream and play this game for money say that you're either playing with her or you're losing, period. Because she's that good. The problem is no communication. No communication from the people making it, which, man, Arc Systems. No communication from Arc Systems. No word on whether they're going to patch, fix, rebalance, anything. And yeah, they have no rollback netcode too. So Dragon Ball Fighter Z is unfortunately dying an unneeded death because of this character, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I kind of followed the game for a little bit. I think Android 21 was like the quote unquote boss character for the campaign mode.
It's
Like
like
the big
Android
bad or whatever.
21 lab coat.
That
is
well, yeah,
one.
that's just a different costume.
Right. I don't know.
But
They specifically reference lab coat in the actual story multiple times. It was weird. I was like, why do they keep calling her lab coat? And then it
I
was
don't
like
know.
they said like Android 21, and I was like, is the lab coat somehow a different character? But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the though, because like I played it for a little bit. It's one of those things I would definitely play it more, but I just really never watched Dragon Ball Z, so it's
No, I
kind of
get it.
like so. Uh, but yeah, no, that's a problem that the fighting community has a lot, especially in like a tournament setting. There are some characters in some games where they're banned from tournaments
Right.
because there's some aspect of them that's just so broken.
Right.
And there's actually entire lists dedicated to like channels on YouTube and everything of people breaking down the viability of characters
Right.
within tournament
Oh
settings.
yeah. I mean, For Honor had a lot of that tier lists and
Mhm.
stuff. But all
Yeah.
right, so final one. This one is a little bit wonky. I'm not quite sure how to feel about this one. So Steam Deck launched back in February, but it was a soft launch. They were basically only shipping to pre-order users or pre-order people. They are now about to go full launch, meaning you can just go out, you could buy it, they'll send it to you, yada yada yada. Uh, Here's the trick about it, though. So there was a lot of complaint. I mean, Steam Deck had a weird reception because on one hand, there are certain things it does amazing and certain things it doesn't do so great. Which I think is to be expected with their first foray into handheld, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
All in all, I think it's been a successful launch for their first ever handheld system. I think it's been a pretty successful launch. That being said, one of the big complaints was that they only have one USB 3.0 drive on the entire Steam Deck, which makes it very hard for like streaming and storage capacity and other such devices like
Keyboards,
headphones,
mice,
keyboards,
headphones.
mice, all sorts of things. Uh, so they have added to the new model three. Well, they've added two, so it's a total of three USB 3.0s on the Steam Deck, which is awesome for anybody's about to buy a Steam Deck or is on the fence because of the USBs. Now you have a lot of USBs. However, it creates a weird dynamic because the pre-order people have the version that only has one USB. So part of me is like, good on Steam for listening to the fans and making a quick improvement to make the system better. But another part of me is like, but fuck them because the pre-order people got screwed. So like,
Hmm.
I don't know where to land on this one. I don't know. How do you feel about it, Neil? I
I
feel like
know
it's half
exact.
dozen of the one. You
I
know?
know exactly where to land on this.
Okay.
It's if they were going to make these sort of revisions, they should have saved it for like a later hardware revision,
Mm,
because those people who were the early adopters who got ahead of everyone else, pre-ordered their Steam Deck, have fought through that rough launch that it had, now get an extra kick in the pants of, oh well, you inherently are getting
a worse system.
a worse system as well
I mean,
because we worked all the bugs out. Like, I get it, Valve
right,
is listening to the people and they're
right,
making those changes, but that is a sort of change that you do for a quote unquote Steam Deck Slim
right.
that you would do, or
The
something along those lines.
OELD
Yeah,
Steam Deck.
something like that. Not for oh shit, yeah, this is a little bit of an oversight. Uh
To your
yeah,
point,
that's
another thing, it creates a weird dynamic with your consumers because people who are about to buy that are like, oh, they just did this update. But then they're thinking, well, there's all these other problems. Should I wait? Because if are they going to make an update to this hardware every 3 or 4 months based
yeah.
on customer feedback? If so, why would I buy mine now? It makes a weird situation because usually when you buy a console or a system, the first like year or two, that's the console and system. Whatever you buy is what you get. Like, here's the ups, here's the downs. You know what I mean? But and then like an upgraded version comes out so you can upgrade whatever, and it gets people on who waited for it, that sort of thing. With this, like, This is 3 months after their soft release. You've updated it. You've updated the hardware, not even the software, the hardware. We all knew software updates were coming, and from what I understand, it's made the Steam Deck a much better, higher performing system. That being said, adding hardware to this thing, that's tricky. That's tricky. It creates a weird situation of doubt in the consumer. Anybody who is like about to hit that pay now button is like, wait a second. What are they going to add come December? You know? So I don't know. It's a real weird situation. I'm still a fan of the Steam Deck. I think if I had a ton of disposable income, I would have purchased one. But and that hasn't necessarily changed here. But I think you're right. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a little bit of a misstep from a rookie company with this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's my last thoughts on it. You want to plug this shit and get the fuck out of here?
Plug it and go.
Yeah. All right. So we will be right back with the plugs, guys.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, would you personally like to plug anything today?
Yes, I would, but I don't know if it technically counts as a plug. I don't know. It's weird. I'm going to get into it, though. So I had mentioned
I'm very
that
confused.
I'm going, yes, all people confused. I'm even kind of confused, honestly, because I don't even know what I'm going to do. So I had mentioned about, that I'm trying to get into streaming and stuff like that. I don't even want to plug it officially because I don't know when I'm going to do it, but we'll put it out there like this. There is a possibility I may be streaming Street Fighter 4 Tuesday or Thursday if my schedule allows it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said,
Okay.
what I'm planning on doing is probably just going through the main story campaign once, possibly twice, depending on how quick I go through it, just to kind of get the rust off with that game. And then in the future, I might try to do what I did in the past and build my rank online.
Well,
But
I might try and watch that, man. I might try and watch
yeah,
that.
like I said, I don't even know. I don't have official time. I don't even know if I'm officially doing it. It's just gonna be one of those things to where it'll just pop up that I'm streaming. So it's gonna be twitch.tv / OMG a tiny wizard, all one word, all lowercase.
Okay. All right. You want to plug anything else?
Not really.
The thing we literally just talked about, like, I mean,
thought you were
5
gonna
fucking
plug
minutes
it.
ago? No,
I thought you were gonna plug it. It's
was
fine.
gonna-
Fine. I'll plug it. Fuck you. I'll plug it.
I thought you had forgotten. I'm like, come on,
No,
dude.
I hadn't forgotten.
We
Yeah,
just
no,
made these plans.
you literally said, "Okay, I will put it in the plugs that we're about
No,
to do."
I said I would put it in the streaming schedule, meaning that when I post the streamings tomorrow, I will make it a stream that is upcoming.
You're the channel dad though, so like you take care of that stuff. When you say you're gonna do it, I assume it's gonna get taken care of.
We're going to stream Golden Axe, motherfuckers.
Well,
I'm going
yeah,
to take it
okay.
now. We're going to stream Golden Axe this Wednesday. Very excited for it. Don't worry, we are going to stream Firefight again, probably next month at some point. And
early May is what we were talking about.
I also need to do a stream with Phil coming up here soon. Me and Phil just have not had, our schedules have not merged up, and he is very close to having another baby, so that's going to happen. That being said, we need to get that stream going, but we're going to do Golden Axe Wednesday night, probably around 9:30ish, as per se usual. Yes, that's right, old school Golden Axe. It's happening. We both bought it on Steam for like $2.
Yeah.
And we're going to play it. I mean, we talked about it in our old Streets of Retro Let's Play.
That was what we talked about that we were going to do, was going to be the next series as the Let's Play.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
that
still,
was the next.
they're still in playlists. We played all of the Streets of Rages in that one. They're still in playlists on our channel. Yeah, it's early. You have to search for them. You gotta dig. But yeah, we're going to do Golden Axe. Do baseball. Yes. Yes. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Do baseball. I gotta go back and watch that episode. That episode was hysterical. That was the best episode we've ever done.
And the craziest part was that was one that we had to literally because something happened with it.
Yes.
And we had to recreate the same amount of hilarity with Do Baseball.
And we did. It was amazing. It was almost funnier the second time. Do baseball. Okay, so that being said, we're gonna do Golden Axe this Wednesday night. In addition to that, I have 2 quick plugs I would like to make. I mean, we got a lot of stuff coming. We got plenty of streams on YouTube normally. Amateur Hour, lunch stream still around. I'm going to try and do a couple extra YouTube streams if I can manage. I don't know that I'm going to do much more Twitch streaming unless I'm playing with Phil, just because the Twitch thing isn't really working out for me. I kind of prefer YouTube. I know I'm crazy. That being said, I want to quickly plug 2 things, 2 shows that we're still doing. Number 1, Prelude to Divorce, ladies and gentlemen, is back. That is where I force my wife to play video games with me. She mocks me and makes sarcastic comments through most of it, and our kid yells in the background while we play video games very badly. It's a lot of fun. It's the only Let's Play we're still doing, and I won't quit it no matter what the view count is. I absolutely have so much fun for it. We took a couple weeks off. The new episode, we went back to Mario again and actually made some really good content this last Sunday. So check that out, please. The episode is Can't Trust a Fart. It's a really fun episode. Go check that out. The number 2 thing I want to plug is a new show that I am doing here on the channel. It is called Pitch or Die. Basically, I take a premise, a gear, a game franchise, something, often suggested by you guys, the fans, and I pitch a game. I pitch a developer. I pitch the game. I pitch what the game mechanics would be. They are usually roughly around 10 minutes. I'm trying to keep myself between 10 and 12 minutes, like in that 10-ish spot. But the first episode is up. We posted it last week. You guys really actually liked it. I'm glad you did. We did Castlevania as an MMO. And we actually got a suggestion for a new one. I might do. I don't know. But I'm also going to be reading comments on that, so interaction with that is perfect, especially since you can also pick the thing I pitch. And you can tell me whether you liked it or didn't like it. That's why it's called Pitch or Die. Like, is it a good pitch or did it die? Let me know. So that's it. That's all for the big plugs and whatnot. We're going to get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, you can contact us on Facebook at OMAGamingDH, on Twitter at OMAGaming9. You can join our Discord. Link is in the description below. You can influence this and all of our shows from there. And as usual, as long as you keep watching and you keep listening, we will keep making it for better or for worse. We will see you guys next week.